Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be recapping Game 3 of this Orioles and Rangers series. Today was the rubber match game, and unfortunately the Orioles have once again lost another rubber match game this season. Once again, another rubber match game loss. The Orioles lose this game 6-0. They get shut out once again. They lose another rubber match game, and they lose another series once again. This was a must-win series for the Orioles, and they go out here and they lose in Game 3 of this series in the rubber match game. Just completely disappointing. That's really the only words that I can really use to describe this game for the Orioles and just the season overall. Is just disappointing. Not even anger, just kind of disappointment. The Orioles lost this game 6-0. They get shut out once again. They lose another series. The offense was a disaster. They didn't put up any sort of runs. Nobody even had a multi-hit day. It was literally just 5 different players had 5 hits. No runs scored. The pitching was a disaster. Tomoyuki Sugano has once again another horrible start. That is like 4 or 5 starts in a row now that have just not been good by Tomo. And all of a sudden, you just really don't know who to trust in this pitching staff anymore when it comes to starting pitchers. I guess Dean Kramer's the guy that you trust the most, maybe Trevor Rogers. But Zach Eflin and Tomoyuki Sugano, the 2 guys that you trusted the most, have been playing horrible for the Orioles recently. And it really is just sad to see the way that this Orioles season has gone. They're 1 loss away from 50 losses, and it's the beginning of July. The Orioles are 0-2 in the month of July already, and this is the month where they really need to, put their foot on the gas and step it up. But there are still injuries. Guys like Jordan Westberg is still hurt. Guys like Adley Rutschman is still hurt. Guys like Zach Eflin is now on IL. Obviously Kyle Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez, they've been on IL all season. Tyler O'Neill's been gone all season, but he is going to be coming back this weekend in the weekend series against Atlanta. So, that's good. At least we're getting an injury back. But, the Orioles have gone through like 5 catchers this season. The Orioles have also had the most amount of people on IL this year with 23, which is the most in baseball. So, I don't want to use injuries as an excuse, but when you have the most injuries in baseball, that is something to look at. That is something to be aware of. And, this team had top 5, top 6 potential and expectations to be, a top 5 or 6 team in baseball this year. They've made the playoffs the past 2 seasons. They've also had the most wins in the American League over the past 2 years combined. And, this season has just been a complete shell-shock disappointment. It really is surprising and just crazy how this season has gone. You kind of just sit back and look at it like, wow, this is like actually happening. Like, this is actually happening for the Orioles this season. And some of the ways that they've lost this season have been completely disappointing. But I will say, just like last week's series against the Rangers, where the Orioles win the first game and then lose the next 2, that exact same scenario happened this series against the Rangers in this specific series. The Orioles won Game 1 of the series. It was a hard-fought 10-6 win in the 11th inning. Thrilling game, most thrilling and exciting game of the Orioles season. Probably also the best win they've had all year. They win that game 10-6 in extras. It was amazing to watch. All they needed to do once again was win one of the next 2, which was yesterday's game and today's game. And they lose both of those games. And not only do they lose, they get killed. They lost by 8 runs yesterday. They lose by 6 runs today and get shut out. And obviously when we go over this game, there's not really going to be a lot to go over on offense because they scored 0 runs, and you cannot win a baseball game when you score 0 runs. It is literally impossible to win a game in baseball if you score 0 runs, and unfortunately, that is the Orioles have been shut out quite a bit this year, which is disappointing when you look at the offense and the players that are the players that are in the batter's box. I'm talking Gunnar, I'm talking Gunnar, I'm talking Jackson. Colton, these guys that are playing for the Orioles, and I stuttered a minute because again, you have to I had to think about who's even on the team right now, because there's so many guys that are hurt all the time that you just don't even know who's playing for the Orioles anymore. Obviously, we've used 5 different catchers. Guys like Jordan Westberg, Adley Rutschman have spent a lot of time on IL. Obviously, Adley's not going to be back till after All-Star break. Jordan Westberg re-aggravated that finger injury. He's still hurt. Tyler O'Neill, who's the biggest contract that the Orioles have given out, in a long time. He's been on IL like the whole year. He is going to be coming back this weekend, so hopefully he'll come in and contribute early. But he's been out all year. It's just been a disaster. Just been a complete disaster for the Orioles season. I mean, the only words I can really use is disappointing and disastrous. That's the perfect use of words that you can use for the Orioles this year. But let's just go over this game. So going over this Orioles and Rangers game, obviously the Orioles lose this game 6-0. They are 37-49 on the season. They are 1 loss away from 50 and 3 wins away from 40. So that is horrible. And the Orioles are once again in a scenario where they're 12 games below 500. They were kind of teetering around that 11, 10, 9-ish range over the past week or so. But they're back to 12 games below 500. And the schedule does not get much easier for the Orioles. They kind of had some breaks here and there against struggling teams that they couldn't even really seem to beat with ease. But all of a sudden, this Orioles team is back in a bad scenario. I mean, they've been in a bad scenario all season. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that this all started happening at once, because this has been going on literally the entire year. And I think I saw a graphic. It was like Colton, Adley, Jordan, Gunnar, Jackson, and I think it was those guys. Adley, Gunnar, Jackson, Colton, Jordan Westberg. If you take those 5 players, obviously those are the core hitters of this team, all of those guys have played 6 games together this season. 6 games. They've only played 6 games together this season. Obviously the Orioles have the most amount of players on the injured list. And it's just been a complete disaster this season overall. But going over this offense, only 5 total hits on the day. Didn't score any runs. They also had an error. Jackson Holliday, 1 for 4. Ramon Laureano, 1 for 4. Gunnar Henderson, 1 for 4. Ryan O'Hearn, 1 for 4. Colton Cowser, 1 for 4. And then Gary Sanchez, Ramon Urias, Cedric Mullins, and Jacob Stallings all went hitless in this game. Again, 5 different players had a hit. Gunnar struck out 3 times. Just not a good game. Not a good game at all from the Orioles. Nathan Eovaldi went out there and completely shut us down. He went 5 innings scoreless. We were able to work him a little bit, but I mean, what's the point of working someone when you score 0 runs in a game? But I do want to say real quick, I know there's been a lot of negative going on in this episode, but I do want to say real quick and give my congratulations to Ryan O'Hearn for being named the All-Star starter for the DH position in the American League. He is going to be an All-Star starter. Shout out to Ryan O'Hearn. I mean, we traded for him from the Royals for like cash considerations, and we sent him down to AAA for a little bit early on in his Oriole career, and now he is an all-star starter for the Baltimore Orioles. So I'm sure he's going to be on our all-star representation. I think he is going to be going alone though. I don't see anyone else making the All-Star game. Jackson Holliday was close to making it and being the starter. He still might make it as a reserve, but we'll see about that whenever they announce the reserves. But it is cool to see that even with the Orioles having a struggling season, it still is cool to see that the Orioles have an all-star starter, which is Ryan O'Hearn, and it's cool to see him get his recognition among the league and among the the fans as well. It's cool to see Ryan O'Hearn get that recognition. Again, he's batting like around a 300, a 472 average. He's been the best player, honestly, for this Orioles offense all season, and really the best player for the Orioles all season. So shout out to Ryan O'Hearn, man. Super proud that an Orioles an all-star starter. There's been a lot of negative going on this season, but that definitely is one of the bigger highlights of the year, and I'm super excited to watch him on All-Star Game Day. We're going to be having an episode on All-Star Game Day, just kind of talking probably about Ryan O'Hearn's performance and just the game in general, so that'll be fun. But again, the Orioles scored 0 runs in this game. Going over to the pitching, because this is where it really was disastrous. Tomoyuki Sugano once again puts up an absolute horrible performance. This is like 4 or 5 games now in a row where he has just been pretty awful for the Orioles, which sucks because he was the guy that I trusted the most for a majority of the season, and him and Zach Eflin have just been horrible recently. And I don't really know what it is. I don't know where it came from, but the 2 guys that you trusted the most have been bad. So now you're kind of left with like Charlie Morton, Dean Kramer, Trevor Rogers, who, I mean, those are the big 3. And those are going to be the 3 pitchers pitching this weekend in Atlanta. So those have been the best 3 performing Orioles pitchers over, the recent time. Honestly, I probably trust Dean Kramer the most, to be honest with you. He's, turned his season around. Same with Charlie Morton. And then Trevor Rogers, obviously, it's still a small sample size to really give a true opinion. But obviously, he's been great for the Orioles this season as well. But the pitching was just disastrous. Tomoyuki Sugano got the loss for this game. Got through 4.2 innings, gave up 10 hits, 6 runs, and a walk with 5 strikeouts, and also gave up 2 home runs. 79 pitch count across 4.2 innings, not great at all, and his ERA went up to a 4.44. So, I mean, if you remember just a few weeks ago, Tomoyuki Sugano's ERA was like a 2.95 or like a 3.05, and now it's a 4.44. So, I mean, it's just crazy how his ERA's gone up a whole like point and a half. Just sucks. It just sucks, man. I mean, this Orioles season has sucked. But again, we're having fun doing the show. This is Birds of a Feather. Again, we cover every single Orioles game. There's going to be no complaints. Obviously, we're going to keep it real. When it's bad, it's bad. When it's good, it's good. We're going to discuss everything. We're not really going to sugarcoat anything. But Caleb Martin in this game, Caleb Martin, Ynier Cano, and Andrew Kittredge all didn't give up a run, so the bullpen played well. Ynier Cano is back on the roster, so, welcome back, Ynier. But again, the offense couldn't really do anything. The pitching was bad. Again, just another disastrous game, much like yesterday's loss. And the Orioles do have a day off tomorrow, but they start up a 3-game series in Atlanta starting this weekend. And it is going to be Charlie Morton, then Dean Kramer, then Trevor Rogers, I believe, which should be pretty fun. Again, those are like the big 3 for the Orioles pitchers. And there now is only 3 more series remaining until All-Star break. We play Atlanta for 3 games in Atlanta, and then we have a 6-game homestand to close out this first half of the season against Miami and New York, against the Mets. And I will say this. Do I want to say that this Orioles season is over and that we're not going to be able to come back from this where we're at right now? Yes. I do not think that we're going to be able to come back by the end of July and go on this crazy... Because, at this point, as it stands right now, July 2nd, 2025, this Orioles team would literally need to go on a... how many games are there until All-Star break? So, we can look. So, there's 9 games left until the second half of the season. And then the second half of the season opens up with Tampa, Cleveland, Colorado, Toronto. So the trade deadline is July 31st. So there are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 more series until the trade deadline. There's 7 more series. There's a series against Atlanta, against the Mets, against the Marlins, and then in the second half of the season, you start off against the Rays, the Guardians, the Rockies, and the Blue Jays. And then after that Blue Jays series is the trade deadline. So this team literally has 7 more different series remaining before they have to decide whether they're going to be big sellers or whether they're going to be buyers or whether they're going to stay still. I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to be buyers. I'm just telling you right now, we're not going to be buyers. And we're probably not going to stand still either. We're going to sell. And what sucks about selling is that the Orioles probably only starting, the Orioles only all-star this season, who's Ryan O'Hearn, he's probably going to be traded by the deadline because he is on an expiring contract, and a lot of teams obviously are going to see that he was an all-star starter, and a lot of teams are going to try and go after him and trade for him because he could be a very big addition on a lot of contending teams right now. So he's going to be one of the hotter, trade options this offseason, or not this offseason, this trade deadline. He's going to be one of the hottest options this deadline. And the Orioles would literally have to win. First of all, they would have to win every single series up until the trade deadline, which it's hard enough for the Orioles to even win one series. They would have to win 7 straight series going into the deadline, and they would also have to throw in a few sweeps in there. Maybe like a sweep to Tampa, maybe a sweep to the Mets or something like that. Like they would have to sweep a few of those games, and they would have to win every single series. So that is a lot. And there's a couple 4-game series in there as well. It's a 4-game series against Toronto and a 4-game series against Cleveland. And they would have to win both of those series. And I will say right now, is it possible to maybe come back? Yeah, it's still possible. Like anything's possible right now. Like who knows what can happen? Maybe the Orioles go on a 20-game win streak and all of a sudden they're back in the season and they make the playoffs and win the World Series. Like who knows? But as it stands right now, and if we're going to be more in check with reality, this season is more or less over. And it's one of those seasons, and it happens sometimes to baseball teams. There are baseball teams that have, seasons where they're supposed to be very good. And then they go out there, and it's a complete disappointment. This is just one of those seasons for the Orioles that they just have to forget ever happened. It just sucks that it has to happen in the middle of this rise. The past 2 years, the Orioles make the playoffs. They're one of the highest seeds in baseball. They have home field advantage in both of their playoff series the past 2 seasons. Obviously, they get swept in both of them. But the Orioles had the advantage and everything like that. And now all of a sudden, in the middle of this rise that this team is having, it's just a complete drop-off. It's just like a roller coaster going up and up and up and up and up. And things are looking good, and you're at your peak, and you do well. And then your general manager has a horrible offseason and doesn't be aggressive and doesn't sign anybody. And then this season has been complete karma for that. And now we're crashing down below. And who even knows what the future of this Orioles team looks like? Who knows what the extensions are going to look like for guys like Jackson, Gunnar, and Adley? Who knows what who might get traded on this team at this offseason? Who knows who we might sign? Who knows what the mindset is going to be moving forward with this Orioles team? We don't know. But I will say is that this Orioles team is in a bad position right now. And at the end of the day, they just need to forget that the season ever happened. And by the trade deadline, if they are looking at each other, and Mike Elias and David Rubenstein and Tony Mansolino are gathered in a room, and they kind of look at each other and say, you know what? Just do what's best for the team. Sell the guys who are going to be expiring free agents. Guys like Cedric Mullins, guys like Ryan O'Hearn, guys like even Ramon Laureano. The guys who have been playing well this season, trade them and get something for them. Regroup around your young players, because you're still going to have Jackson, Adley, Gunnar, Jordan, and Colton next season. Regroup around them on offense. Figure out the pitching situation. Hopefully guys will be a lot more healthier going into next season. Guys like Colton, or guys like Grayson, and guys like Kyle. Hopefully they'll be healthy going into next season. They need to figure out the starting pitching. They need to surround these guys on offense with hitters that actually want to play. I will say Ramon Laureano has been an excellent addition. I would love to keep him. But this team has a lot of work to do this offseason, which is weird because you would kind of think that this team doesn't have a lot of work to do because the whole foundation was built. But unfortunately, the general manager just doesn't really understand how to build a baseball team. Mike Elias might be an amazing draft guy. Again, he drafted guys he drafted Gunnar and drafted Adley and Colton and Jordan and Colton and Jordan and Jackson and Gunnar and Adley and all these guys. And Enrique Bradfield Jr. is one of the stars coming up for the Orioles, and Samuel Basallo and Dylan Beavers and all these young guys in the minor leagues for the Orioles who have a future here. You look at those guys, you look at all the guys that we've drafted, it's been amazing. But when you look at the free agency and the offseason and actually building around these young pieces, it's been a horrible failure. It's just been horrible. And it's just been a disappointing season so far. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. Whether you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, and make sure to click the link in the bio and check out the Instagram and the X. Make sure to follow the X. I'm posting daily tweets on X about the Orioles games. I'm live tweeting games, and I'm also posting updates on Instagram whenever episodes come out. And make sure, if you're on YouTube, to give the channel a follow, or give the subscribe to the channel, like the video, and then give the Spotify channel a follow as well. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. This Orioles season has been very up and down. There's been some valid crash outs here and there from me regarding this Orioles team, but at the end of the day, it all comes from a deep love of this team, and I do love this team, and I'm having a ton of fun doing the show, but it's just disappointing to see what's going on this season. There is no game tomorrow. There should be an episode up tomorrow, though, I'm probably just going to talk about this upcoming series, going more in depth about what they need to do to get back on track, because they are running out of time. But we'll see what happens with that. I'll see you guys in the next one. You have a great sales day. Go O's, go Ravens, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.